Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's video is on the Tier 8 Tech Tree ship, Izumo. Now, I struggle to like this ship, and I have some real issues with it. It feels more Italian to me than anything. It does not like to hit stuff. When it does, it hits hard, but it doesn't like to hit stuff. I love the Japanese battleship line. For the most part, outside of this ship. This ship can be so trolly. Let's get into it. We are using ARP Musashi with Scharnhorst, the Ravel, Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, Gun Layer with Fight Fire with Fire. Now, if you don't have Musashi, you can use Tagagi and try to use any accuracy upgrades that you can. I'm using Scharnhorst, but you could use D. Ravel and Cunningham if you don't have that. To be honest, grouping, I don't know, is the world's biggest issue here. It's dispersion. It doesn't matter how well your shells are grouped if they're not hitting anywhere near the target in the first place. That's one thing that's my opinion on grouping. I'm not normally a huge fan of it. It does help maybe on Americans and the French, but on every other ship, I just don't personally care for it a whole lot. Now, Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, and reaching out XXL with Fight Fire Fire. That's your free commander build. If you would, or if you do go that route. For our modifications, aiming systems mod 1 is a must. If you want to hit one shell in the entire match, get that. Now, this is one thing I made a change, particularly on this ship. In the match you're going to see, I had steering gears. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, the steering gears, even with the upgrade, is not good. And with all your guns on the front of the ship, you're more likely going to want a bow tank in moving backwards and forwards instead of turning in and out. A much better option. You're going to see why I say that in our match today. Concealment mod 1. And for as always in the main battery mod 3 to get the reload down. For your upgrades, I can assure you with this thing, getting your firing distance out to, it says 17.5, but it would be, that's bugged right now. It'll be 18.9 with this, I believe, or 19. And then probably the hull upgrade to help the rudder and to get the extra AA, and then the engine for the speed. That's the order I'm going to do the upgrades on it. Now, you have 3 heals. They're actually not terrible, and this ship is relatively tanky. That's one positive about this ship. You do have 4 spotter planes that do help with shell grouping, and obviously with the Musashi build that we have, this is definitely a help with our dispersion. So there's generally a few shots while you're using your spotter plane that are actually going to be not atrocious. This thing shoots shells out of it that you are like, what the heck just happened? Okay. Specs, 76,000 health. Now that's without upgrade. It does go up with the hull upgrade. Artillery, 17.2, as you'll see in the video, but with the upgrade you can get up to 19. And the reload is pretty solid at 25. It is Japanese. They have pretty good reload. These are 16.1 inch guns. So the AP on these things, when they hit stuff, it is pretty good. Like, you know, it does some damage. AA does get better with the upgrade, the hull upgrade, obviously. Haven't had a carrier match with this thing yet, but I'm going to say it's probably not atrocious. Probably not the world's best, but it definitely isn't bad. Maneuverability. This thing is awful. For Tier 8, I mean, the Minnesota makes this thing look terrible with everything. Its speed is not great, the turning circle's not great, and the rudder is atrocious. That's why I say don't even build into the rudder because you don't even want to turn with it. That upgrade will definitely help it. The hull upgrade will definitely take it down, but there's a point where a rudder's so bad, trying to help it doesn't really help your playstyle, and that's why I would say definitely go with the prop mod so that you can start and stop pretty quick in reverse. You're not going to want to rely on the rudder on this thing. It's real bad. The maneuverability of the ship should be like negative 3,000. Concealment, it's a battleship. You're not going to sneak up on a dead moose. It's 13.6. Stats, guys. Do not, as I said with a Magi, do not let the win rate affect what your opinion is on the ship. It's not that great. At tier 8, average of 95,000 damage, which isn't awful, but it's definitely not 75% good. One thing to note with this ship here on this thing, I've survived every battle with this. This is actually a relatively tanky ship. Like, way tankier than I thought. I took hits in this thing that I shouldn't have. And you get away with more than you probably should in this thing. In a few times. So it's not just like luck. But main gun accuracy, 31%. I am surprised it's that high. I have chosen a match for you guys to show you how awful this accuracy can be in this, and you're going to see it, learn from my mistakes with this. Armor, this is a very positive thing about this ship. Now, I know the very top of the armor is very flat, so you're going to get some pins. However, the bottom, the belt, has a little bit of an angle to it, and that does help a lot. And you have this extended belt back here on the stern that protects you pretty well from the back, for the most part. Not to mention you have a 30-foot or 32 bow in stern, meaning only Musashi and Yamato, really the big 18-inch, 1-inch guns, are going to overmatch you. This ship is much more tankier than I ever would have thought, because for a lot of the Japanese line, they're basically battle cruisers that you don't get a whole lot of armor. You get enough to be very effective with them, but it's not like they're the tankiest ships in the world. This thing, however, very tanky. One thing to note is the front guns will pretty much always stay on target, but if you flip sides, that third gun in the front definitely takes a while, or definitely takes a little bit to turn, but I wouldn't worry about that so much on this thing. Having two guns, on target, as I always say, getting most of your guns on target is more effective than giving your whole broadside. The third gun doesn't have the world's best firing angles on it. As we go ahead and start this match and check who we're up against, I do want to say it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide to help out people just learning this ship or learning the game in general. This is not for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything. There is also multiple ways to build and play ships, so opinions will vary. I am just a above average player. I don't claim to be the best player in the world. I just am a pretty darn good player. So I do make mistakes. You're going to see some in this match. And also, you didn't come to this video to see how to pronounce names, as I am very terrible at slaughtering other beautiful languages. It's almost an art form, so keep that in mind when you're watching this, guys. With that out of the way, we're top tier, even though we have no upgrades. But you can see there's only one destroyer, a lot of battleships. Should be an amazing damage match game. So, one thing you guys should know, this ship has been consistently for me. The guns don't always like to hit. It is very tanky. This was my first game. As you can see, my daily Dave dumb moment. Having HE still loaded and not realizing it. But we're spawning on the right hand, the A side here, and we're going to try to get the flank. Now, one thing with this ship, man, is if you make a mistake with maneuverability, it's going to cost you. So, for example, a reason I decided to showcase this match is all the matches were around the same amount of damage. Like, I've been consistently getting 90 or 100,000 pretty much every match for the most part. But this match showcases its weaknesses and the strengths, to be honest with you. You're going to see some shots that I do take that I probably shouldn't have got away with. But you're also going to see how this thing, when you get out of position in this, it costs you significantly. And the accuracy. This is like the classic match I've had with it is I fire HE at the Heisen. To be honest, he was angled okay anyway. But I see the Heisen, and what I'm thinking here is I got to be careful about rushing in. I didn't realize this ship, this was my first match, and I didn't realize this ship was as tanky, as we get probably the only salvo of the match where I hit 6 shells. Alright? Just so you guys are super aware. Now, why is the accuracy such a problem? In the Amagi video, you guys saw that while I didn't hit a world's most amount of shells, when I hit, they were, you know, doing a significant amount of damage. We did like 45 shells, and I think we end up with a high cal, so like 170,000 damage. I can't remember, in like 6 kills, right? In this thing, we're gonna hit 55 shells, and you're gonna see the damage with the guns that I do, not great. So, just not being accurate with this ship puts the shells in places where they're not doing much damage to. Now, this was my other second daily Dumb Dave moment. I didn't turn into these torps, and I should have turned into them earlier instead of turning outward. Why is that important? Because it's a summoner, I thought the torps were going to run out. I was not paying attention to that. Summoner has torps that go 50 kilometers, apparently. I thought they were going to end, and my butt is now out of the battle. This is one of the things I wanted to show, and why after this I started to play more bow in with the ship after this match. Now this match I don't, and this is why I wanted to show you, because I take myself out of the match here as we speed up time, a significant amount of time, guys. Like, you know, I'm not helping my team at all. And this is one thing I wanted to show. This ship is not good at getting yourself back into, you know, it takes a long time if you mess up. It's like an American Dreadnought in that fashion. If you put yourself in a bad spot in an American Dreadnought, it's tough to get out of. As we get a really good look at Odin, and we do get actually 6 shells to hit. So that is about all the shells you're gonna see hit in this match, to be honest. Listen, this was one of the most frustrating matches I've had, and every Izumo match has been like that for me. Do I wind up doing some damage with it in every match? Yes. Is it the worst ship in the game? No. But because I'm a big fan of accuracy and consistency, this ship frustrates the dickens out of me. One other thing I want to say is, you don't want to give up your whole broadside to give off all your guns. I probably should have taken more damage there. Not that I was completely broadside, but I feel like it probably wasn't angled enough, and I was probably lucky that was Odin shooting me with lower caliber guns. You know, if that was another Izumo hitting me or American battleship, that probably would have hurt a lot more. Maybe. This thing has a tendency to just tank hits. So you can see at, I think that was at like 9 kilometers, I think I completely like whiffed on it. Just like 1 shell hits or something. Again, out at 17 kilometers, we're going to shoot Heisen. And one reason I didn't push it in early, by the way, guys, is when you see like a Japanese battleship or a battleship with torps on it or secondaries, you got to be a little careful. Especially in the first match here, I didn't realize this thing was that tanky. But you can see everything. Also, one other thing is I did not realize our cruiser players were going to be that solid. I mean, they rushed these battleships and didn't die. And this destroyer, sorry about the hiccups. And they didn't die. But you can see we get 2 shells. Even with Japanese range, where Japanese get better dispersion at range, we still only hit 2 shells. And like I said, we're not even in a good position yet. We put ourselves in such a bad position that for now, half of the match, you can see we're not super effective, and we didn't do much. And it's such a costly thing, and why it was so important that I show this, because again, you put yourself in a bad position. It's not good. Now, the last thing I want to do with no maneuverability is charge a destroyer. So I am not going that direction at all. You got two cruisers here that can 100% counter him and have already proved themselves the ability to counter him. So we're going to look and take a shot. I probably could have taken it, but to be honest, we weren't going to hit a shell. I mean, I should have took it, but he was dead by the time our shells would have ever got there. So now we take a look at the middle. We have a battleship going to our right. So I'm going to try to push on the left side to get a different crossfire on them. So, you know, Iowa can only bow tank one of us, or not necessarily bow tank even, but only can really angle to one of us. So we're going to work our way up. Our destroyer's doing a job getting another cap. But you can see this is a close game. It's 5-4. I clearly haven't done much in this match. All right, so it's really 4-4. And we're going to take a shot at the Iowa, who's barely moving at 16 kilometers. As you can see, again, the 50-kilometer torps of the destroyer is coming by. Now, that wasn't the world's best aim by me, but we still weren't even close to hitting a shell on them. It wouldn't have mattered. You're going to see on these shots coming up here, guys, it's going to be bad. Yeah, you know, I don't have some of these shots. I'm not having the world's best aim on. Most of them aren't going to be as bad as you think. So, like here, we're going to take a shot, breast. Assuming he's going to probably try to turn in behind that island. He does. We hit absolutely nothing. None of these shells hit. All right, so it's not like we're not aiming in the right position there. Just like here, Iowa's not moving. We take a shot. Over at Iowa, he's only 13 kilometers away. We get one shell to hit. All right, that's super consistent with this. It's just not great. So now we at least have a spotter plane ready. You see, we hit one shell. So we hit 2 out of 9 on a salvo there. At, what was that, like 13 kilometers? It's just rough. It is rough, guys. The accuracy is this thing is not its greatest thing. However, the tankiness of this ship caught me off guard. This thing does not play like the rest of the line at all. This almost plays like a super tanky Nelson or Collinwood. Like Collinwood or Nelson with armor. You really just want to bow tank, get into good positions, and you can see we're going to take another shot at Brest, who is sailing outward, and we know that. You can see on the map. But again, we hit 3 shells out of 9. Just not ideal. So you can see we are going to work on getting back here and realizing that we got a lot of health that we can play with. You're going to see in a second here, we're going to take a shot. And I'm going to start to turn in. Why am I going to start to turn in? Is I can take the heat for my teammates here, and try to, you know, make it a little bit easier for our teammates. Now, me and my other battleship, I don't even remember who that was, really spread out, do a good job, make it tough for them guys to actually not hit us. But you can see here, I kind of go dark here for a second till I get to a place where I feel like I'm going to be turned pretty good before he can take another shot at me. Iowa does, in fact, come out broadside here, and we are going to go ahead and try to take a shot at Iowa. And this Iowa, the set of shots on the Iowa sums up this ship entirely. If you guys already haven't seen some not great at dispersion and accuracy, get ready, guys. Get ready. Iowa, we take a shot. The best looking salvo of the day. Still hit 4 out of 5. I'm happy with that. We get a sit-out. So you're thinking, okay, this is awesome, right? Oh, gosh. You guys should see these next salvos coming out of this thing. But I don't mean to be hard on this ship. It's got some amazing qualities with tankiness and survivability, but you're going to see 14 kilometers. We completely aim right there, and you can see all the shells land around them. We didn't aim bad. The shells just aimed all around them. One shell at 13 kilometers. You're thinking, that's okay. You're going to get another shot, and you're going to be able to just get rid of them. Now, we've scared the living crap out of this guy. We're going to go ahead and take another shot. We've scared him, but we haven't hurt him at all other than that one shot. We hit one more shell at 10 kilometers with 9 shells. All right. Finally, he decides this guy isn't going to hit me. I'm going to go broadside, which, to be honest, I don't blame him. So we're going to get ready to take another shot here, right on the broadside of him. And we're going to finally get a shell to hit. 2 of them, in fact, to actually finish him. Now, in the meantime, I've been so mad I didn't even realize the breast was charging me, which is okay. It's a cruiser. I'm a battleship. I like my odds, right? So instead of shooting at him, we know he's charging us to probably ram us. We're going to take shots at the ship behind it. I always do this. You should definitely. If somebody's ramming you, don't worry about shooting them. If you can't take them out in time, just worry about shooting somebody else and get damage off. As you see, we finally get some damage. We only had 70-some thousand damage before we hit him. With 55 shells. That's like half of what we can do with a Maki. But you can see we win on points here. And this is really a classic game for this ship. So I had some learning things I could show you guys in it with. Probably wanting a bow tank. I've had better luck with it now. Bow tanking a little bit with it. And nose aim with it. Not being like super close up, but just using that to its ability. And using prop mod to really help it. Anyway, we end up in the top 3 of the leaderboard, which I was really surprised about, to be honest with you. And we kind of help our team in a match, I guess. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time, folks. Have a good one.